Gentlemen, start your engines for some high-speed action on four wheels. But does this model have what it takes to be a champion? This is Sega Masters. Our next stop on the Master System tour brings us another staple of 1980s arcades, F1 style auto racing. Formula One racing is popular all over the world, and F1 games have been a staple of the video game realm ever since the Namco arcade classic Pole Position cultivated the genre. This kart, known in Japan as the Circuit, obviously represents Sega's first attempt to bring F1 action to a console, possibly to serve as a four-wheeled alternative to Hang-On. It even adds a few innovative features to help it stand out from the other F1 games at the time, though the whole execution isn't what you'd call championship caliber. This kart has you competing in an F1 style racing circuit containing 12 international courses, each of which is vaguely based on real-life Formula One tracks, and the action unfolds just like most other pole position clones. After previewing the track, including the minimum time to qualify, you begin at the start line and zoom down the twisting turning road toward the finish line. You only have one lap to post one of the top 6 finishing times to advance to the next race. But of course, the other cars on the track will try to get in your way to obscure your progress. Naturally, crashing into one of your competitors causes you to explode violently, costing you precious time before your car magically appears back on the road unharmed. And that's the bulk of the action in this game, handling the tight curves and dodging your hostile fellow racers until you reach the finish. The controls are responsive and your vehicle handles smoothly for the most part, enabling you to make quick cuts around the other cars. Plus, shifting from low gear to high gear with the D-pad is no problem. Once you cross the finish line, if you meet one of the top 6 times, you move on to the next track in the circuit. Finishing with a good enough time also earns you special points which you can eventually use to purchase upgrades for your car, such as better acceleration, handling, and a new engine to increase your top speed, before beginning the next race. But what should have been a nice customization feature is limited because the upgrades only last for the next race. Then your car defaults back to normal and forces you to purchase the upgrades again, making it almost pointless to buy them in the first place. There's not much to say about the visuals and audio. Everything is brightly colored with smooth 3D scaling that gives a good sense of speed, but the landscape is barren except for the distant background that represents the race location, making the game world rather sterile. The only sounds to speak of are your engine and the cars you're passing by, as well as the explosion. There's no in-game music at all, not even on the title screen. The only ditty is the victory tune if you pass the ridge, which I was forced to use for the intro. Unfortunately, any enjoyment this game offers is suffocated by its extremely frustrating difficulty. You basically have a razor-thin margin for error to meet the qualifying time, and just one crash will most likely end your session. It also doesn't help how the other cars are a little too aggressive trying to smash into you, often with no way to avoid them. So in other words, you have to run a near flawless race for any real chance to advance. In addition, there's nothing to indicate how close you are to the threshold, meaning you might think you did well enough after crossing the finish line, only to be abruptly met with the game over screen. An interesting feature this kart brings you is a track editor that lets you put together your own courses to race on for fun. You piece together your track with a selection of curves and straightaways, and once you complete your design, you then challenge it, complete with enemy racers, to see the best time you can complete one lap. And that's pretty much all you do, unless you want to challenge your friend to beat your best time or something. Plus you can't even save your designs. So World Grand Prix tries to be the top Sega speed demon, but falls well short of the checkered flag. Despite the decent gameplay, The excessive difficulty will get on your nerves, and the well-intentioned but disappointing special features fail to add anything to keep you interested. Plus, there's no reward for your perseverance. After finishing track 12, you just start back over at track 1. You're better off taking the wheel in Super Monaco GP or any other racing title, but leave this model in the garage.